now that we've gotten through our whole sort of trajectory of talking about objects and classes, thinking about how these are bundles of data and functionality rolled into one, uh, you might be thinking, looking at some of the examples that we've done so far, and been like, okay, great, but there's still a lot of code there, and you keep on talking about this idea of being a lazy programmer. So uh, we've got our dance party here. We've got two dancers, but what if we want to do something more, right? What if we want to get like something really wild going on where we've got like dozens of people on the dance floor? This is where this idea of something called an array comes into play. And an array is not only useful for dealing with things like like objects and classes. Arrays are useful whenever you're talking about any kind of thing where you want to have many similar things chunked together. We're going to spend more time talking about arrays in the coming weeks, but I wanted to address them right now to sort of dip your toe into the water of it because it's really useful in using in conjunction with some of the stuff we've been talking about. And we'll let you have like a big old rave really quickly. So we've been defining dancer one, dancer two, and going through like that. But what we really want, let's say we want like 10 dancers, right? We could go and copy and paste these three methods over and over again, and then we'd have like 30 lines of code. But we can do this way easier. Uh, we can do this by declaring an array. And an array, when you declare it in JavaScript, looks like this. You've got two square brackets following your variable, whatever name you give your array when you first declare it. And so those brackets inside of there, it's where you're going to place all the different things that you want to go in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to load this array with different objects, and each object is going to have a unique position inside of this array. So we're going to have array, and arrays are they're zero indexed. That means they start counting at zero. So the first item in your array is actually at position 0. Second item is in position 1. Third item is in position 2, and so on. They can be as large or as small as you want. They can be multi-dimensional. They're really kind of crazy. We're going to implement them. I'm going to talk a little bit about how they work, and we'll spend more time next week going a little bit deeper into how they work with them. I just want you to become familiar with how you can get them up and running really quickly. So here we've got, we're declaring our array of, we'll call it dancers. It makes a little bit more sense, right? And and the other thing that I'm going to do just to start is I'm going to get rid of these arguments that I was passing into the constructor here. I'm just going to put these colors back to random so that we can just for simplicity's sake to start out. We'll use this. We'll pass an argument to this, and when we get to the end of the video. So here we've got our array of dancers, right? And what we want to do when we populate an array, there's a couple different ways of doing this, but the easiest way to do it is to use this method called push. And what we do is we push a new object into our array at the end of it. So the first time you push something in there, it's in that first position. The second thing you push in is at the second position, so on and so forth. So the easiest way to do this is with a for loop. So we're going to say for let I equal 0. And then I think that the other thing that we'll do here too is we'll say I is less than num dancers. So we'll declare a variable up at top, a global variable that will have the total number of dancers that we want to have. That's going to make things way easier for us to manage. Then we say I++. So we throw in our curly brackets there, and then up here as a global variable, say let num dancers, we'll start out by saying 10. It's a good number. 10 people's a party. So here we've got our loop. And what we want to do here is we say the syntax for this is a little bit different than what we've seen before. We say dancers.push. And then inside of here we say new. Then we say body. Right? So what this line is saying right here is it's saying into the array dancers, push a new object. And do that every time we go through the loop. So we're going to get 10 new dancers. It's really great. Now, once we've created this, we want to do something very similar inside of our draw loop. So if we go back up in here, I'm going to delete all these methods for update, wall check, render, etc. Right? I'm just going to paste this in here. And now what we want to do is now we want to loop through all the different we want to loop through all the different items in the array and through all those different methods too. So the way that you access things inside of an array is, again, you refer back to these square brackets. So we say dancers, and then you pass it a value, right? So if I say dancers 0, I'm talking about that first object in the array. If I say dancers 1, I'm talking about the second object in the array. So if I say dancers bracket I, that's going to be whatever the variable I has inside of there. So here I say dancers I update. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing for all the other, so for the other two, right? So update, and then wall check, update, or sorry, dancers, wall check, dancers, render. And that's it. So now with this code right here and this code right here, I've replaced all that other lines, and I've accomplished in 6, 7, 8 lines of code what before would have taken us 30 if we were going to get 10 dancers on the screen. So I've saved this. I'm going to run it, and we should see a big old, yeah, there we go. Here's our dance party with all of our dancers. All these folks have, they're getting unique colors, shapes, sizes, etc. And the nice thing about this is because we've made this global variable here, we could have hundreds of dancers really quickly. So I'm going to change that variable of the number of dancers from 10 to 100, and now all of a sudden it's like a big bash. So this is how you can go about really quickly adding multiple objects to your sketch and turn it into some sort of mega mix rave that goes all night long really quickly and easily.